everybody to Star Chaser Central, a podcast about Charles Hampton music moments and everything in between. We are not a mogul. I don't think so. I wouldn't call us street rats either, but we'll figure out what we are. But I am Stick Braxton.
And I am Mike D. Jackson. And y'all gotta stop being so fucking nice, man. Just gonna say it right there.
Okay.
Yeah. Only reason I'm gonna say that because it might be something in the air. We're coming to the next month and whatnot. And I feel like some people are just getting a little too mouthy, and not the Star Chasers. Y'all are doing great, wonderful. But
Yeah.
just other people on social media are getting a little too mouthy and feeling a little too comfortable with stating their own opinions on stuff that nobody asked for. So just saying that right then and there. If any of y'all have been dealing with that recently, like I have, feel free to stick a boot up someone's ass professionally. Professionally.
What a start.
Yes, sir.
That wow. Okay. I'm afraid to ask how you're doing now.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. I know I told you a little bit about it a couple days ago. Long story short, I'll say this. I remember something simple. So this one guy seen a post I had a couple days ago on Instagram. Took a picture of Scrapple at the supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
No, bro, no, that's not good for you. That's not good. Bro, you don't eat the healthiest. You smoke. Sometimes I see you eat McDonald's, stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, man,
Yeah.
chill out. Chill out. I never said I was the healthiest eater. Never said I was a health guru, but chill. I'm saying it a lot nicer than I did that day, but
Right.
it's man, because sometimes you're like, I'm gonna be nice about it. I'm gonna be nice about it, and then I'm like, all right. So apparently, because I wasn't being my authentic self, usually where I snap on people normally, it's like they didn't understand that. So here you go.
Got it.
It's not Christmas. We're not even close to Christmas, but I see the Christmas sweater, so this is my gift to them. Merry Christmas! Shout out to Becky Lynch. Merry Christmas, for real, for real.
All right. Well, first off, Scrapple is delicious. Let's get that out the way immediately.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes it's just cool to just keep your opinions to yourself. Sometimes, like especially if it's like unwarranted and like there's like no reason for you to respond at all. Like it's just cool to just chill out. Just that's all. That's always a good idea to me.
I agree. That's just how I felt. I had to, put my 2 cents out there.
Yeah. But this is a interesting and jam packed episode because we're kind of technically reviewing two tapes. And we were originally going to do it one by one, but then you came up with a concept that I thought was amazing. And so here we are. But we are reviewing Charles Hampton as a mogul and as a street rat.
Yes, sir. So these are two tapes, and the reason why we are doing two tapes instead of just one and one. So I gave you the idea, and I said, "Hey, man, like Charles came out with these around December of 2012, December Christmas time, December 20th. So when he came out with these, one tape has about 7 songs, another tape has about 12 songs,
Mm-hmm.
but it's as a mogul and as a street rat.
Mm-hmm.
First thing I thought of is like, hey, I think about Sonic, Charles Hamilton, Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hamilton. So if y'all remember back in the days, recap. So Sonic 3, when it came out in about 94, Sonic 3 came out separately,
Mm-hmm.
and also Sonic and Knuckles came out separately. They're supposed to be one big game. Y'all know nowadays, when they sell the game together now, it's just Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But they had to split it up because McDonald's and whatnot, they had this deal that had to get done at a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you play them separately, it's missing something. They're not bad solo, but they're greater together. And I felt the same way about this tape, where it's like I can just listen to one, I can just listen to the other, but I'm like, I feel like I'm supposed to listen to this together. So that's why we're reviewing them together. Also, you guys, I think you should try and listen to them together. I
Mm-hmm.
will say this, because of the tapes being, a little bit different than each other, but a little bit similar. You might have a favorite, you might not. I know before when I originally heard it, I had my favorites. I might have changed. I might have changed. I'm not sure yet. I will figure out by the end of the episode.
Okay. Yeah. When you said it and you was talking about the Sonic 3 and Knuckles thing, I was like, oh, that's actually a very good concept. Just especially with tying everything in with Charles or whatever. Um, yeah. I remember. I remember. First of all, the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge is one of the greatest cartridges of all time. Just the whole connectivity thing and being able to put like the game in another game on top. Like I used to do the Sonic 2, plug the Sonic and Knuckles in there. You can play Knuckles in Sonic 2, and that was so fire to me, bro. I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
yo, I remember just being a kid, like, yo, how did they do this? What is going on with these computer chips that's allowing this to happen? But yeah, I like the idea of these kind of being like two separate, we'll say games in this situation, two separate games, and like they were actually meant to be together because it's telling a story or whatever. So once you said that, I was like, well, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Let's do it that way because I think that's a more efficient and a more better way or a better way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. If you guys we've all seen, I guess you say, double albums, double projects. Like, Tupac has All Eyes on Me, double
Mhm.
CD. But I was thinking more of like Nelly. He had Sweat and Soup. One album was Sweat, the other album was Soup.
Yeah.
For Sweat was just like kind of like the regular, street Nelly and whatnot, where he would put the songs on that he would have where it's like, oh, this is what you're used to. But then the
Right.
Soup Nelly is kind of like the smoother side, the more professional side.
Mhm.
Like, I guess you say that might be the mogul side. Eventually he put the two albums together and sold them together just as Sweatsuit as one CD. It was still a double CD, but
Right.
I say, like, think about it that way, because I know with Charles, it sucks because a lot of these blog posts Charles used to have explaining these albums, they're gone to the fact of time. Charles would delete posts and whatnot,
Mm.
delete blogs, make new ones. But I do remember, at least with as a mogul, I feel like this is him being like, okay, um, stepping into my suit, trying to be more professional.
Mhm.
At this point in time, we're in 2012, so Charles has already been out of a deal for some time.
Mhm.
He's heard the criticism of, hey, you need to make better music, use better beats, be in an actual studio. So I think with him, this is his way of replying to be like, all right, I've heard what you guys said. I've heard it. I've heard it. This is one side of me being like, hey, I'm gonna try and give you part of what you want.
Mm.
And then on the street rat is, I'm gonna be a little bit more aggressive, still do what I want to do, and
Mm.
try to give the best of both worlds, and still wrap it up in a nice bow, a nice package, or two packages, because it is technically two projects.
Mhm.
But it's a way of Charles trying to cater to everyone and still make sense of everything at the same time. Because in 2012, there was no, oh yeah, he's definitely getting on another label again. As
Mhm.
fans, we're like, well, this might be it. So if you're going to support him, you gotta support him wholeheartedly. Otherwise, you need to just leave and let him make the music he wants to make.
Yeah. So in this, I'm kind of like following your lead in this one because I feel like you did a lot more notes. What's the best way to do this today? How would you like to proceed? And then we can kind of go. I'll follow however you want to go.
Okay. All right. So I would say we can do we can do Mogul first and then
Okay.
do Street Rat. I don't necessarily think that the order matters too much, but I feel like, just do Mogul first because it's the one with the shorter list, and then do Street Rat. Also, another thing, guys. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware, as a mogul only has one art cover, and like, if you look at it, it's like someone with a mask on. And you see like three lines, and the three lines remind me of Blueprint 3 from Jay
Hmm.
Z. I think that's what it is. Could be wrong, but on the other album, Street Rat, there's two album covers. The two album covers, you see Charles as a child, and then you see Charles being older, looking a little messed up and whatnot. Just
Hmm.
a fun fact for you. So the picture as a child, you don't really see it on the album cover, but it's a picture of Charles when he's really young with a picture of Crisscross. I don't know if you guys remember Crisscross, the dudes from the 90s wearing their clothes backwards.
Hmm.
That's actually one of my favorite groups. My first ever cassette ever my dad bought me. So
That's
out
crazy.
Coast Cross.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Also, the other picture of Charles, looking a little rough and whatnot. I It's a little sketchy on the comments and everything that happened. I feel that what happened was Charles got jumped There's something that happened, some type of altercation. Charles got jumped. He ended up taking a picture and whatnot while he was smoking a cigarette and everything. But one of those things that we really don't like to talk about as much because we're trying to showcase and put a shine and light on Charles's better moments. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
but those are the backstories for those two album covers. Just
Mm-hmm.
something that I think you guys would like and appreciate. So,
Yeah.
but let's start with Mogul. I think we should check with that.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get there. Starts off with okay. First off, can I ask you a question? When you see the letters in this order, BEY, what do you say?
Beyonce,
No, how do you pronounce BEY?
Bay.
Right, but like some say B. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, which is it?
So for me, I'm gonna say Bay just because I guess Beyonce. I'm just gonna pronounce it like that. If
Right.
if Beyonce wasn't as big as she was, and there was no, you know what? It's crazy because first time I seen BEY Hive, I'm pretty sure I said Bay Hive. I'm pretty sure I was like, yeah, that's the Bay Hive. But then I seen the trending topic and tweets were Beyonce. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's probably Beehive now.
Right.
But for me, when I see it, I think Beehive. I instantly think B for Beyonce. It could be Bayhive, but anytime with Charles, we know how Charles is about Beyonce and whatnot. He mentions her a good amount, not as much as Rihanna, but a good amount. Like Beyonce started to slide her way into the conversation. Well, what makes you ask that?
Because I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce the name of the song.
Hold up, let me pull up the listing. So you got a good point.
You
How
feel
I
me? Like,
I'm going to assume that it's Bayitis.
ain't no
Like,
way. It's gotta be Beitis. You feel me? Like, it's crazy. Like, first of all, neither one actually sounds like it could be right. So let's just pick one. Let's just say Beitis.
okay, Bayitis. You know what's crazy about this? Because we're talking about Sonic 3, something that's really crazy. The water stage on Sonic 3,
Mm-hmm.
people don't know how to pronounce that still. It's been like almost 30 years. So it's either Hydrocity Zone or Hydro City Zone.
I'll say Hydro City.
I think I've been saying Hydrocity and I've just been sticking with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. People there's still no real answer, I think. But same thing. So hey man, this album might be more in tune with Sonic 3 and Knuckles than we thought, man.
Yeah, that's a fact. What did you think about the opening?
All right, with Beitis, however you guys prefer. Actually,
Right.
I don't know how you guys feel about it. You tell us. You tell us how you feel in the
Yeah.
comments and
How
whatnot.
are we supposed to pronounce it?
So with this intro, I will say this. I feel like a lot of times Charles has strong intros. Sometimes they're just fun intros. Sometimes they might be inquisitive.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I feel like it has a little bit more to be desired. So for me, listening to it was okay. I'm like, my issue is this. Once again, like I told you guys, at this point in time, Charles is fully into the freestyling, fully into the lo-fi sound and whatnot. So there's certain people that aren't going to like it.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is this: the sound and quality of this tape doesn't bother me, but in this song, I feel like the freestyling is inconsistent. The one thing that I love about Charles, he keeps it real. So when he's freestyling on these tapes, if he messes up, you know he's going to keep it. He might stumble, stutter a little bit, but he still keeps it. And there's times throughout the song he kind of picks up the not picks up the pace, but he kind of picks up the bars. Where it's like maybe the first minute and a half, it's like I'm getting ready, I'm still getting the feel of it, but then he picks it up, then he kind of loses it again, picks it up, and then the song's over. And for me, I'm like, it's an okay freestyle if we're going by freestyle, but I think for me, I'm like, not one of his strongest intro songs. So for me, I'm like, I was a little worried when I first heard this. How about you?
So I'm not. I think I like it more than you. I think I do like it more than you.
Okay.
I think the beat is, to me, the beat, like you said, the sound quality. I like the sound quality. It's not horrible.
Yeah.
It's not even bad. Like
No.
it's actually really decent, except for like this one song on here where I'm like, yeah, maybe I don't like that one. But this was actually a good quality for me as far as compared to other lo-fi that we've heard from him, right?
Yeah.
And you're right, he definitely is. You could definitely hear the freestyle. And at this point, he's he's definitely into the I'm not writing thing at this point. He's head first into it, right?
Right.
And it wasn't bad. I liked actually some of the verses. I like the quote unquote hook on there. B makes me pause or whatever. Which I think maybe that's. I wonder what itis kind of makes you sleepy. I'm trying to figure out what the title is. I'm trying to figure out what the connection is to the title of the song.
Yeah.
So I like the song. I think it's a decent song. It's not my favorite song on the tape, but
Yeah.
it's a decent start. I think it gets better. It's it's what I like to call the mountain effect, where
Okay.
Sephiroth is starting a little bit higher, like the peak is probably like in the middle, and then things kind of whatever. But I don't mind this one. I don't mind this one at all.
I got you. Yeah. When these projects came out, definitely, I think at the time being, this was like the best sound quality wise. Like I said, I don't have a problem with the sound quality. This is like best sound quality. Where, like I said, Charles, I'm not sure exactly where he was recording from, but it definitely wasn't from the speakers of his MacBook. Like
Mm-hmm.
he definitely went somewhere and had it a little bit more mixed and mastered
Mm-hmm.
compared to, like we said, other tapes in 2011 and and whatnot. But no, like I said, for me, I'm just more used to tapes starting stronger. So maybe that's why I'm being a little bit more critical about it. Cause I'm just like, man, I'm used to really feeling the first song a lot. And the thing is, I'm not sure how you guys feel about it, but anytime if you don't start off a project, an album well, some people could be like, you know what,
Yeah.
I might be done already. You might already checked out. So the thing is, like I said, it's iffy. It's iffy for me. Like I said, it's okay, but I'm like, man, I was expecting more. Like expecting more. So
Fortunately, he does follow up better with Billionaire Bullshit. I think that's a really good record. The sample, Chicago Bulls, really nostalgic. Of the greatest basketball player to ever pick up a basketball. Debate your mother. Uh, um, so like just hearing that dun, 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 like that's it's like him stepping up to the mic. You get it, stepping up to the mic as Mike, talking to Mike. I'm going crazy right now. Anywho, I think it's three great verses. He's really talking the shit there, and it ties into the tape, right? Mogul. I'm on my billionaire bullshit. This is me trying to shed whatever the old Charles was, and now I'm trying to go into this new direction. So I like the record. I forgot that it was actually on this tape, and I added it to the playlist immediately.
nice. Because I do remember on a previous episode, I think you might have made a comment about, yeah, this one song reminds me of if someone sampled this song. I'm like,
Yeah,
this song got sampled on
yeah.
it. So now fast forward. So, but this song to me, I really love the song.
Mhm.
This song I felt should have been the intro. Maybe I might be biased because the Mike
Okay.
Jordan thing and just the Bulls, three-peat and three-peat.
Yeah.
Is one of those things for me. I feel that it's the theme of it, the sound of it. Charles, like you said, talking about the billionaire bullshit. Real quick, Vision. There's a video for this. Check it out on YouTube. For me, the reason why I love it so much because I guess with Charles being in his mogul status on this tape, he's realizing, all right, the stuff I was doing previously, yeah, I'm putting out a lot of music, but at the same time, who's really checking this out? I feel
Mhm.
like people aren't really checking it out. I kind of got to make a decision. Do I want the love or do I want the money? And I
Mhm.
think that Charles is kind of grasping towards that of sometimes love doesn't pay the bills. I gotta be on my billionaire shit. I gotta be
Mhm.
rich and I gotta make what makes sense and dollars and thought process. But I really like the verses. And this is when I can say, like, when Charles is freestyling, he's going back and forth and he's going like in and out of the flow purposely. And then like you forget, oh, billionaire bullshit. Like he
Mhm.
reminds you like every couple bars, billionaire bullshit. It's like, oh, man, oh snap! But I think what he did was genius. He did something genius. Of course, mentioning Dre, mentioning Jimmy Iovine, Steve Jobs, all that type of stuff. All geniuses in their own way. But I really love this. This is how I thought the album should have started off.
That makes sense, especially if you're thinking of like the intro. That is the intro to the Chicago Bulls, like when they first entered, they do the starting lineup. So that would have made a lot of sense. I do agree there. Money Talks. I had to go back and listen to this one. I kind of forgot what it was. Like even when like I was listening to the tape, I would go back. Like I listened when we first said we were gonna listen. Then I took a couple days off, went back, and I was like, "Wait, what is this?" And then you go back and like, "Oh yeah, this is cool." So it's cool. It's not. I wouldn't say it's like one of my higher favorites. Um, but it's cool. It's. I would say it's better than Beitis, but not as good as Billionaire Bullshit.
Okay. So I agree with you. Well, Money Talks, I do like the song. Not saying you didn't. I really like the song. So how it starts off, I was a little iffy. Hear the
Mhm.
sample and whatnot. The I can't go for that. That's a sample that's been done a good amount of times.
Yeah.
But how Charles does it, real smooth song, real chill. Once again, Charles is talking about money and whatnot, not letting it change you. But at the same time, he's realizing once again, all right, well, if I'm gonna make this money, I gotta make this money. At the same time, like, is it really worth my soul? Is it worth, changing the contents of my character and how I create and whatnot? Because at the same time, like, I know he's saying if it really changes me at this point, forget it. You could keep it because it's going to make me do something stupid. It's going to make you guys look stupid.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of how he felt on Interscope about, okay, being on Interscope and then maybe not soaring to the heights that Interscope wanted him to be at, and
Mhm.
then them feeling like, all right, well, you know what, maybe even though we had this bidding war for him, this guy didn't pay the dividends that we thought. So
Mhm.
Charles is being like, hey, look, I'm gonna give you guys what you need, but at the same time, if it's not working, let's just cut ties now. You know what I mean? Because there's certain stuff I'm just not changing. Kind of like with the sample. I can't go for that. No can do. But
Yeah.
I like the song. It's a smooth vibe to it. Something you could cruise in the car where you put the seat back a little bit. It has that type of vibes, in my opinion. But I like the song. I really like it.
Have to accept they are the next Charles, cause I'm on my billionaire bullshit. Buy them niggas with a Metro car, like let's go hard on my billionaire bullshit. I'm the next to be a star, cause I'm still stuck as a
Nobu music.
All right. Nobu music. So, how do I explain this? I think it's a good song. What threw me off, it has like a Sonic feel to it. I'm not sure if he's sample Sonic on it. It has like some type of Sonic songy feel to it. Sounds like a
Mhm.
sample of it. But the thing that it kind of turns me off for the song is the hook. And not necessarily the hook itself. I think it might be like maybe the filter that was put on that hook. Because it
Mhm.
sounds like I know there's like two types of hook. It's either like the telephone type of hook when you're on the phone with someone to
Mhm.
kind of simulate that,
Mhm.
or when you're actually like a radio sounding kind of sound. But it's one of those two that I really didn't gel with. And I think maybe if he took that off, maybe just sung with just without that, it would have sounded better. Because I see what he's going for on
Mhm.
that hook, but Nobu Music, he's talking about just being just the type of music he's making, type of guy he is, that type of guy he wants to be. But like I said, just when it comes to the actual chorus and whatnot, I'm like, uh, uh. But it's one of those things where it was recorded like that, and there's a certain vision. I think it missed the mark for me. Like I just didn't catch exactly what he was trying to do with it. But it has like a feeling of wanting to fly, I guess, like just like kind of like tails, just like getting lifted up in the air and trying to soar and be the best you could be. But like I said, just that filter kind of messes with me a little bit. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, not for me, bro. Yeah, that like I said, that hook and that it doesn't mesh with my vibes. I know a lot of people, they have their opinions or like it's divisive or how when Charles sings on songs, right? A lot of times he can. It's not like he has to like carry like a super tune, but at least make it like palatable, right?
Yeah,
And I get it. It sounded like he was going for like the rock type of like screech thing, but I don't think that beat called for it. But it also just could have been like we said, like the filter that he put on it. But like that's like the only thing I remember about the song, and that takes me out of everything else. So
yeah,
it's hard for me to be like, oh, the verses were fire and like the beat was cool, but it's like at that only thing I can remember is that hook. And so like that kind of takes me out of like, as far as making it's memorable technically, but
Yeah.
not for the right reasons for me, right? So that's kind of, I would say that's like the low point of the tape for me.
Okay.
But then Purchase and NASA comes on and I'm like, yeah, this is dope.
Cause I accept heaven, accept hell, but sex sells, and you gotta be a virgin until you're married to reach heaven. So how else can I excel? Waiting to exhale, and I cheated on Whitney, knowing this is crack.
That's just I love that record. I for whatever you know what it was. I was trying to whenever I was listening to the tape, I would be listening to Nova music. I was like, I can't do this, and I'll skip it. And for whatever
Yeah.
reason, the playlist will skip over the Purchase and NASA. I was like, dog, I know there's another song on here. What is
Yeah.
going on? And I would go back like, oh, here it is. Who's the sample?
So it's "You Are My Starship" by Norman Connors.
Okay, cool. I just again, it's one of those very smooth. Now, see, this one you were talking about how this one felt like the last one felt like tails, like soaring in the air. This one is that for me, and kind of makes sense with the space theme of just flying and being in the air. Yeah, I love this record. Um, it's another, and this one actually feels very Sega to me, very Sega, very and he says it in the beginning, it's like, I don't know what it is, but it's Sega, you accept me, I can accept you. It's that type of vibe. And
Right.
I always like when he gets in that kind of zone, right? And I think this was just a very good record.
Definitely. So for me, hearing the song, it's just one of the things where you're just like, this is an instant replay, instant repeat. I felt like this is one of those songs where, like I said, amazing song. It's a combo. It's a perfect combo of the wordplay, the beat, how the beat was flipped and everything like that. Charles was talking about going into space because in the beginning of the song, he says that he believes in that type of stuff, going into space and all that type of talk. And the whole time he's talking about, okay, just this is what I believe in, going into space, going to being a higher being, a higher person. And, you're trying to take people with you on that journey. And he does a great job of doing that. I can't, if someone says that they didn't like this song, if someone said this is like, oh, I don't like the song, or oh, this might be the weakest song, you're tripping. You're tripping. You're lying. You are a liar. Like, this song is one of the best songs on there.
Yeah.
I felt like this is definitely one of my top like two
It's
top
one.
three.
It's one or two.
Yeah.
It's definitely one or two. I would say that for sure.
Yeah. For me, I was just like, man, can he do any better than this? And like I said, depending on what type of person you are, like I said, the next two songs will determine that for you. But I was just like, this is definitely, like you said, certain songs go on a playlist. This is definitely going on a playlist. This is definitely, if I was to show anybody a song from this project, from either this or Street Rat, this is definitely one of them that's going on.
Facts. Sophisticated Nikki. So this is interesting because this is one of the songs where there's definitely a and a B side to it, right? Because both songs, there are two songs that reference Nikki, and so it's like, and they're vastly different. By the way, I can't stress that out. They're vastly different, and we'll get to it in a minute.
Right.
But Sophisticated Nikki, it was cool, right? I would love to know the message of the song.
So,
I guess it's more of trying to find, but even then, it's like, are you trying to find a more subdued version of this type of Nikki, right? Like, are we talking like pop Nikki? Like, is that what we're going for? Like, and then it was weird because I would love to know what the message was for the song. What did you get out of it?
So I remember when I first heard this song and like the sample just drew me in. I'm like, oh man. And like you said, with this song and then the other Nicki song, yeah, they are vastly different. And I think that has to do with how the tape is, Mogul and Street Rat. But like you said, we'll get to it later. So with this song, I don't know if he's actually talking to Nicki herself or if he's talking to someone else that might be also named Nicki or someone else disguised as Nicki. It was one of those things where we talked about it earlier. So all of us remember with Rihanna being first introduced and being introduced in the music, having her own project. A little bit later, Beyonce started getting introduced, and Charles was sampling Beyonce and whatnot. Beyonce is still fairly new in the scene, I guess you should say, not as new, but I want to say around this time, this is when Charles started talking about Nicki Minaj and whatnot, and I'm just like, oh man. So, and then he started like flirting with the idea of, okay, so there's Ree, there's B, there's Nicki,
Yeah.
which one, because then he's starting to go back and forth on certain songs, like which one do I want? Do I want to stick with Rihanna? Do I want to go back to Beyonce? Do I want to go to someone new like Nicki? And it's crazy because we all know how, especially nowadays, how Nicki Minaj is. She has her soft side. She also has that rough and tough side. She's a Sagittarius. I'm an Aries, so I get that dynamic. So it's a really good song. The sample is by Dream, because his song is talking about being in love with Nicki, but I don't think he's talking about Nicki Minaj. But
right, yeah.
I remember when I first heard this, and I'm like, this is a dope ass song. I fuck with this. I fuck with this song heavy, So I'm not sure exactly what the message is, but I think it's more of him just trying to talk to her and let her know, like, hey, like I'm interested, kind of like just, yo, what's up? Like, this is what I got going on over here.
Yeah.
I know you got your money over there, but we might be able to have a great business together if we have a meeting of the minds, so to speak.
Talk to us about Warren Buffett at Sin City.
Oh man. So this is going to be divisive what I'm about to say now.
Okay.
This is personal opinion. My favorite song personally, but I have a bias.
Wait, really?
There's a bias. There's a reason. So let me explain. So the reason why it's my favorite. So Charles had a original freestyle to this. That's not this. He had another, and once again lost to the sands of time and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he snapped on that. Not saying he didn't snap on this, but I'm like, man, I think it was on Ustream or something, but he had it on. I'm pretty sure he had it on YouTube as well. Before this project came out, he had a freestyle to it, and he snapped completely. And I don't think there was actually there was not really a message to the freestyle he did to this. But I remember hearing the beat, and I'm like, man. And I remember it got deleted. I'm like, bro, what happened to that song? And then he came out with this. I think he did great on this too.
Yeah,
I love the beat. I don't know what it is. I love the beat. I think it's just fire. Like Charles is going back and forth. And in the song, I think this is him kind of shedding because the song's called Warren Buffett at Sin City. I think this is him shedding the mogul thing. Him maybe being like, you know what? I tried the mogul thing. Might not be for me. I'm shedding all that, and I'm showing my true self, and I'm about to just black on this song and just go crazy. Let y'all know how I really feel about everything. He talks about a bunch of different things, like talking about certain women, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you're a stripper and all that, but I'm trying to make you a star. I'm trying to be a star myself. At the same time, homegirl stripping, and he don't want to put $1 in a thong because he knows it's wrong. At the same time, though, she's trying. Right. And he's like, hey, I gotta do what I gotta do,
right.
But bias this is true bias telling you this is my favorite, just because, like I said, the beat was crazy and whatnot. It's like I said, between, like I said, 1 and 2, my second would definitely be NASA. But like I said, just the beat's just crazy to me. That's like for me, I'm like, me being an artist, I'm like, yo, I would definitely rap on that beat, but I would feel like I wouldn't do it justice the way Charles did. So I'm like, I won't even touch the beat, but I really like that beat on the song. Fire song to me.
So it's a cool song. What I do like now is that how you just kind of explain how you think he was like shedding the mogul persona. Because I was gonna ask at the end, like, I know we said that we don't know what order it actually is supposed to be in, but let's focus on if it's supposed to be mogul or street rat, right? So to end this tape, right? As let's say that he is shedding the mogul situation. So I had all this money, I did it, or I've made it, I had all this money. Where's the best place to get rid of all that money except for Sin City? Right. So it's like that's how he's ending, just throwing all the money away, just going crazy for one night at the jump, shaking for a rich. You know what I mean? So like that's if we look at it that way, that's a cool way to end this tape. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I gave this a try. This is cool. but this isn't really me. So let's just go ahead and give all the money away and let's go back to being who I really am. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's, if I'm looking at it that way, I got a new appreciation for the song. It kind of maybe bumps it up a little from where I probably would have had it without that explanation.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, I feel you on that. It's one of those things where, like I said, for me, I wish we had the original like freestyle. Cause I know that thing is gone. Like if I could compare the two and then show y'all like, okay, this is how he did on the beat originally. This is what
Yeah.
he did with it, you know. But overall, like I said, just with me, it's definitely compared to how I felt the project started, where I'm
Mm.
like, I'm a little iffy on this to how it ended, where
Right.
I'm just like, woo, you know, because this is only 7 songs. Because with, let's say that song I wasn't really feeling the intro, then with the other song, Noble Music, I wasn't really
Mhm.
feeling. So I'm like, okay, right now I'm 5 out of 7. I got to be at 5 out of 7 because
Right.
at that point, anything less, then you're just like, probably not interested in the tape, you know.
Mhm.
But I'm like, he did it justice. The songs he really needed to snap on, I feel like he did well, very well on.
Yeah. That moves us into now. Wait. Yeah. You want to rate this now? Let's rate them all both at the end.
Yep, lock on technology, put it together. Just
Lock on technology.
lock on technology. We're not ending it. We're getting dropped off into the next game, kind of like Sonic and Knuckles. You see Sonic dropping down.
Yeah, I feel like we're switching. We're switching cartridges. We're putting in the other cartridges now. Which is as a street rat, man.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
Now this one's a little bit longer, so let's kind of breeze through these as best we can. I want to give some attention to some songs.
Okay.
Auction starts off. Now I would say Auction is a much better intro than Beatus. I think remotely it's not even close.
Yeah.
Great hook, great verses. Um, and I feel like it's, if we're talking about as a street rat, it's like now instead of being at the top, I'm selling myself again, right? And that's kind of the issue. I'm a boy on the block. I'm a street rat. I'm back to the grind. I'm trying to get myself back out there. There's a slave type thing in there. I don't really like that part. But like, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm back to selling myself, right? And that's kind of the message that we're getting. Like I'm back on the block. Here I am putting myself out there again. But this is a great song.
Yes. Agreed. Like I said, when it comes to intros, like I said, Charles did a lot better compared to Mogul. And like you said, great message. He's talking about, do you want to be another boy in the block? So regardless if he's starting off as a boy in the block or he went back down to being another boy in the block,
Mm-hmm.
it's the aggression. It's a tough beat. The beat's going hard. Charles is trying to match up with the style of the song, because it's one of those things where I feel like this is when Charles is saying, okay, y'all wanted me to be more aggressive on these songs. Y'all wanted to hear that hunger. This is me being hungry. This is me showing y'all I'm still hungry and I still want this, regardless if I'm signed or not. Great song and great message. Like where it's like, hey, if regardless of who you are, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta survive.
Exactly. Bicycle. What does it mean to be Star Wars?
Star Wars, like Star Wars, like, or Star Ward.
You heard the hook.
So here's what I got from the song, right? I didn't look up the actual sample. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it probably would have helped me if I would have looked up the sample.
Nope.
I meant to do that. I just didn't. It didn't. Doesn't.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it would
Okay.
help though.
All right. So this is what I felt, because with this song, the verses are solid, beats okay. I feel like how the sample keeps repeating Star Wars, Star Wars. I think that there's going to be some people that might get annoyed with it. It might not be for everyone. I think it's funny because I just seen a video recently about Star Wars. It was Freddie Prinze Jr., I think. I could be wrong. Because he used to be a writer for WWE, and then
Yep.
there's basically some type of situation that happened where he was explaining to people basically Star Wars was originally for kids.
Yeah.
And then I think the first 2 or 3 were for kids. And then when the next movies came out, it's for a different set of kids. And a lot of people are, there's so many people that are divisive in the Star Wars community, the fandom and whatnot. And some people might think, oh, they're just stuck in their ways. They're stuck like this. They're not changing anything. Of course, when they change something in Star Wars, oh, you gotta change it too much. It's not how it used to be. And I think maybe they're talking about being stuck, whether it's like creatively you're stuck, mentally, physically you're stuck to a point where you don't know how to move on, or you're trying to move on, but it's still not sounding where it's supposed to be at. I think that might be where we might be going with that, because you can't please everybody. And that's what goes with Star Wars or any music, any film. You can't please everybody. You're gonna piss some people off. So it's like, look, either you're a fan of the old stuff or you're a fan of the new stuff. If you like the new stuff, keep checking it out. If you like the old stuff, check out the old albums, check out the old product. Because what do you want me to do? I can't make both things for everybody.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. I like the record. Again, another one I was like, I forgot that it was on here. I just when I go through stuff, when I used to go through stuff, I would pick the stuff out and then I would just those would be my playlist of songs. So like when going back and listening to these, I'm like, oh yeah, this is where this is from. Playlist, right? It's a good record. He's very eager for someone to battle him. So maybe that's also kind of what we're looking at. Star Wars is a lot about good versus evil, force versus, dark side. So maybe that's kind of what we're trying to envision this, because and then what side does he see himself on would be interesting. But Big Booty Nikki.
Big ol' booty in her drawers. Big ol' boobies in her bra. I'm on my grind, cousin. I ain't got time for bluffing. I'm trying to slide inside her muffin. Reason why? Cause her money is young, but money's old. And I'm trying to go old with honey, so one. And if she...
This is my preferred version of the Nikki song.
All ratchet shit.
Yeah, this is and this one has it has the harsh vocals or like filter as Nobu, but it's done in a better way. You know what I mean? Like he's not singing, so that doesn't really. But it's the screeching, the yelling. It fits better on this type of beat. And again, great verses. The hook is amazing. It's a fun hook for what it's just ratchet fun shit, and I like that.
Yeah. So like we were talking about, because Sophisticated Nikki on Mogul, like I said, it is more prim and proper.
Yeah.
Kind of seem like that. That's what it's supposed to be on there. On here, Big Booty Nikki, turn the lights off, shut up and dance. It's like, that's, to me, I think that's like if he had Nikki alone with him, you know what I mean, in the bedroom or whatever, he's like, yo, wild out, wild the fuck out, do what you're supposed to do. Like you said, the yelling on there, it has the filter on there, and I'm surprised because when I first heard the beat, I'm like, oh, beat's fire. And then when I heard it, I'm like, it's kind of like, now I wouldn't say peanut butter and jelly, but it's one of those things where, now I don't eat this, some people do, where it's like, was it peanut butter and marshmallow fluff, where you're like, okay, these go together pretty well. I wasn't expecting that. It goes together so well with the yelling, and then like I said, he's just telling her to do her thing, and then Charles is he's boasting, he's going through the bars like he normally would, and I'm just like, man, like I said, this whole tape he's just showing everybody, like trying to show and prove, like, yo, I still got it. I can do the beat still. I can do the song still, and what I mean, just wait. It just makes you laugh because, like I said, just I don't know how he came up with that hook, but it works. That hook just works. But I don't know exactly how Nikki would dance to it. I'd be interested to see what she would do to it. You know what I mean? Especially on me, but neither here nor there.
All right, relax. Relax. Whenever Charles says, "Here go my hook," it's about to be fire. Yeah, yeah, it's about to be fire. Now we'll say the next two songs are 100% my two favorite songs on this tape. Starting with the Element. Very, like, this beat is very minimalistic. It's there's nothing like too crazy about it, but I just love these verses. You know what I'm saying? And because for those who don't know, for some reason, Fifth Element was a movie starring who is that? It's Chris Tucker.
Bruce Willis was in it.
Willis, shout out to Bruce, man. sad to see what he's going through. But shout out to Bruce Willis, one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
But when you hear the song and you envision the song, you can see like it really feels like Fifth Element, right? Just
Yeah.
Every time I hit Just for a Lover, Uptown Bubba, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just crazy, bro. I just get into it, bro. I love that record so much, man.
Yeah. So for me, with this song, when I first heard it, I was a little iffy at first. I'm like,
Yeah,
man,
I get it.
I was like, man, this beat, I don't know. And
Yeah,
then he drew me in with the hook. You know what I mean? Like, gotta tuck it in. When I
yeah,
tuck it, I'm like, oh shit.
yeah.
Oh, so what when I first heard it, I think I was a little thrown off by the song completely. And then I thought about it a little bit later. The reason why the sample. So the sample, I'm not sure who he sampled, but I realized I'm like, this is more of like an opera sample. And then a little bit later, Charles actually had that Andrea Mendez album, the opera album, where he sampled just all opera. And I'm like, I think this was like a prelude to like him like trying it out at first. And I feel like with this project, Charles tries out like a bunch of different sounds. He's always trying different sounds and trying to change the game and change how his flow is and whatnot. But he was very experimental, especially on this song. And if you guys ever heard the opera album, if you're not a fan of it, I will say you probably won't be a fan of this because, like I said, it's an opera sample.
Yeah.
But I like it. I really love the hook. For some reason, I kept getting, before I knew it was like an opera sample, I kept getting kind of vibes of like 808 and Heartbreaks, like the Say You Will. I think that Say You Will song by Kanye that
Got
Drake
it. Yeah.
freestyled on. I kept thinking of that, like that beat kind of, but I really love the hook on this. It's one of those things where, like I said, it's an experimental song, and you gotta be open to like it. And if you're going to be closed off, you're just not gonna like it at all.
Yeah. FWP. Another one that I really like. Again, it's just I don't know what it is about him and just like these out of the left field like titles and just like random things that he'll rap about. But again, I can't really explain it, but it's just that record just really good. It's a really good. I put your furry white you on a pedestal. It's like, but why? And like, why is it furry? You feel me? Like he was loving furries before anybody liked furries. He's the furry king.
I don't know about that. I won't say that. Yeah, there's your words, not mine.
Right. But no, I again, this is one of those. I can't explain it, but it's just a fun record. It's a really good record for me.
What I know about being hood, I don't know shit about being good. Kindergarten got a black mark, what up Cleveland? Create a playroom, shit, breathing doesn't really happen when I gotta read in between these lines. Each time I do it, I find shit which requires.
I think this is the record where this is one of those songs where Charles always samples funk and whatnot, some funk, some 70s, 80s and whatnot. It has a groove to it. And then you hear in the sample, it says fly a bunch of times, like fly, fly, nah. And the chops are crazy on that song. Chops super crazy. Like you said, talking about putting it on a pedestal. And this reminds me of like when Charles talks about him not having swag or him not having, the right capabilities to talk to a woman, but then he goes off in his swaggerless, swaggy way of talking to women and whatnot, and it just works. Like you said, it just works, and especially it works for him, where anybody else, if they did it, wouldn't sound good. For me, I don't know why, this beat also kind of reminds me of not sounding wise, but kind of how he was chopping it and what he did with it with Truth Kills Opposition a little bit. Kind of reminds me of like what he was kind of doing with that. Kind of like that type of vibe with it. But I rock with the song. I really like the song.
Yeah. Then we have Hello Sunday.
All right. Hello Sunday. So every now and again, it's not often, but every now and again, Charles will talk about religion and whatnot, and not just the whole God is a woman, or I believe in Buddha, or whatever it is that he believes in, because of course throughout the years Charles' opinion has changed, but he definitely believes in some type of religion. But this song, I believe he's just talking about his religion, his faith, and the stuff he's been through. All of us have our points of time where we question, are we believing in the right thing? Am I believing in the wrong thing? Is there anything that's actually real and whatnot? And I feel like he's just speaking about that. And this is kind of like, I won't say it's like one of the deepest songs he's ever had, but it's definitely like some type of deep song where I think you actually have to kind of sit there and actually listen to it. You might have to listen to it a couple times to kind of get like a meaning from it. And for some people, let's say if you're not really into like religion and all that type of stuff, it might not really catch you like that. But I feel like this is him actually just talking to God, whatever faith he believes in, and it's kind of just like a hey, like this is what I'm dealing with right now, and just kind of carry me through. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good song. But it can get lost on certain people because, like you said, not everybody believes in God. Not everybody believes in some type of religion. Some people aren't really like preachy and churchy like that. Some people can say, that's just not for me instantly because like I don't want to talk about that. Sometimes it's uncomfortable for some people to talk about, but I think it's a good song.
Yeah, it's a good song. Let's just get that out of the way. I do like the song. I think it's one of those ones where it's not like you said. People don't like the preachiness of stuff. So, and this isn't preachy, and also I don't think it's like fully like he grew up Christian. We know that he said in a bunch of different songs, but also in the song he talks about how the what do you say the T and what do you say the T in Hamilton is an upside down cross.
Right.
So like it's not like it's fully because he also talks about in mogul. I believe in God and Satan. So like it's a bunch of different things. Like whatever he is believing in, that's his what you call it. Like as a street rat, I guess you have to believe in something. Everyone needs to believe in something, but more so as if you're starting on the streets and you're especially if we take into account that that one cover that he has for this. He needs a sign. He needs something to believe in, and this kind of falls into that category as far as like this song goes, right?
Right.
It's very much rap, kind of like a prayer. The hook is right, and so I feel like that's you're getting three different prayers on the song. So yeah, I think it's a cool song. I do like it. Hi Baby is next. It's cool. Hi Baby's cool.
Crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy.
Yeah, you like Hi Baby, don't you? Oh yeah, you like Hi Baby. You really like Hi Baby.
I'm gonna just tell y'all right now, favorite song period.
Okay.
Favorite song period. Favorite song, Regis, final answer. But nah, this song, amazing song. You know how we talked about purchasing NASA on the last project?
Yeah.
For this project, Hi Baby is like that for me, where
Okay.
I'm just kept playing it over and over. I fuck with the Tony Braxton sample, Making Me High,
Of
and
course.
how
Yeah.
the chops go with it. And this is one of them songs where I'm realizing, okay, when Charles is in the pocket like this, and
Mhm.
he can freestyle and he's staying on topic, because it's kind of like he's talking to a woman, obviously. At the
Mhm.
same time, whatever their relationship or whatever they're going through, whatever they're dealing with, at the same time, they're high. You know what I mean? So that's just a two relationships in one. You know what I mean? Because it's just like I said, fire song. I just really like the song. I definitely will tell y'all this, bias or not, doesn't matter. This has a video on Vision on the YouTube. You better check it out. I think right now it's at like 18,000 views. I'm pretty sure 17,000 are me.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious, bro. I would spam this everywhere and tell
Yeah.
people, check this out. Check out the video. This video was fire.
Hi, baby, I'm feeling so high, baby. Look me in my eye, baby, and tell me you're my baby. Come on. Hi, baby, I'm feeling so high, baby. Look me in my eyes, baby, and tell me you're my baby. Bubblegum kush, bubblegum shrimp. Ain't nobody fucking with my chick. She loving my.
One Chain. This is
One
another
Chain.
one where it's like I feel like I don't dislike it, but I can't remember it. So you talk about it while I give it a listen real quick.
Okay, I got you. One Chain. It was interesting how it started, because how Charles started the song, he was talking about a girl disrespected him, and I think for how the song starts,
Mhm.
it's a lot of stuff about Charles talking about kind of friendships, relationships, anything,
Mhm.
where he's dealt with that. Like we said earlier, the criticisms he's gotten from fans, maybe from people in his life saying, "Hey, man, maybe you should do something else, maybe this and that." Whatever they said, obviously he's taken to heart. And the thing is, this is him kind of talking about it, being like, "Yo, man, like should I end these friendships, these relationships? Because at the end of the day, if I do end them, there was a love and a respect that I gave toward you that I feel like I didn't get back. But at the same time, he talked, like in the song, he talks about, you're not going to take my chain. And, in hip hop, that's the biggest sign of disrespect, or one of the biggest signs of disrespect. You chain snatched, or how some people have put it so eloquently. This is real messed up. I think this is more disrespectful than someone saying, "Oh, I snatched your chain." You being relieved of the chain, someone relieving you of your chain. Like, don't ever tell me that. Yeah, I relieved you of that.
Yeah,
like,
don't use proper English on me like that, bro. Don't do that.
Oh, I relieved you of your duties, man. The chain was too much for you, so no, I relieved it gently off your neck. No, don't ever say
do
that
that
to me. Don't ever say that to me. Shout out to Young Berg, but
wow, that's crazy.
hey, yo, he got relieved of his chain multiple times. You feel me? No, but seriously, well, one chain, like I said, I feel like it's him talking about, being disrespected. And Charles has been disrespected in the rap game. He's been disrespected in his personal life. And I think he just wanted to talk about, okay, this is what I consider a friendship. Should I still consider a friendship? And where do I go from here? Because I think with him, especially at this point in 2012, he was kind of trying to figure out, okay, who should I keep around and who should I not? Who should I get rid of? Because there's a lot of people looking like ops right now. I don't know who I could trust. But I think this is him just trying to vent about that whole situation, how he feels about, people just disrespecting him or not, showing him the same respect that he showed them.
Cybersex samples your boy. Big fifth. Big fifth. Music part. I like Cybersex. It's another one of those screamy records, but it's fine. It's nothing that I'm not against. I will say I've said it before, like when Charles does a song where I know the sample or he does a sample twice, I usually just compare it to the other one. And I believe he rapped over Amusement Park on
Problem with Authority.
Which one?
Problem with Authority, PWA.
Yeah, it's Problem with Authority. Yes. I forgot what tape it's on, but I'm sure we'll get to it eventually.
Okay.
But I love Problem with Authority. So like when I think of like that's the one, bro, I love Problem with Authority. Oh, I want to talk about it now, but we can't. We're talking about Cybersex. But Cybersex is a good record. He does have some, and you mentioned it in the last song, or 2 songs ago. When Charles is quote unquote freestyling and he stays on topic, it's usually fire. It's just when he starts to do it and he starts veering off into different places. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, okay, you're taking me out of the song at this point. But yeah, I like Cybersex. Cybersex is a good record.
Okay. It's crazy you said that because I was in my notes about, Problem with Authority, because I remember hearing that before and I'm just like, okay. And I did the same thing, comparing the two. And it's not really fair. I try not to do that, but it's one of those things where it kind of reminds me, like, even if Charles was to flip something and he flipped it again and then he raps on it again, and it's one of those things where I'm just like, it's an okay song. I don't have really too much to say about it. It's okay.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest. I had nothing to say about this next song. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you.
All right, go ahead.
We're very positive on the show, and we try to find the good and stuff.
Yeah.
If I have to do that, I will say that Charles's hook is very good on this song.
Yes.
And the beat is nice. And I wish he had rapped on the song.
So,
and I wish he had removed other people from the song.
All right, so the song you're talking about is Spotlight, and that features Trevor Ice and Keon Torres. So, real quick, I'm not too familiar with Trevor Ice because, I don't think I've heard too many songs with him and Charles or just by him by himself.
Yeah.
Keon Torres, when Charles was coming back, I remember it was a big deal because we didn't hear from Charles in a while.
Yep.
And Charles dropped a Rack City remix with Keon.
Okay.
And this I think this is like our first time all of us hearing about Keon Torres. So we're like, okay, this guy Keon, he kind of brought Charles back to the light.
Right.
I don't know who he is, but okay, shout out to him. I feel like I said, I like the hook a lot on here, and it'd be interesting to see how Charles would have did with like 2 more verses. One thing I will say, like I said, is I can't badger Keon Torres or Trev, because like I said, I've never heard too much music from them. But I do have to say this phrase real quick for anyone that remembers. If you were back in the lounge or the central back in the days, you will remember this: realistic verbalize. If you know, you know. Realistic verbalize. Have you heard that before? Hey, realistic verbalize. Realistic verbalize, y'all.
Let's move on.
All right.
Valet.
So I'll start. So with One Chain, Cybersex, and Spotlight, I felt like the tape was, that this is like, that was when, like, most people would be like, they'd feel a certain way, so they had to go. Songs were going a little bit down. Maybe they weren't feeling it as much. This song brings it back up, and Charles has a great way of doing that, because just, I think his track listing is underrated, because sometimes when you have like a song like One Chain talking about, God, Cybersex, using the amusement park freestyle, then Spotlight talking about, if I gave you the spotlight, what would you do with it? The ball's in your court now. Then we're talking about Valet. And it's crazy because the sample on this is by Egyptian Hold Ya. I don't know if you remember that song from back in the day.
Oh, dog. That sample is recognizable off rip. Yeah.
And Nicki Minaj is on the remix, you know what I mean? Had Nicki on there twerking on me, feel me? But
she's not doing that. She's a married woman.
So what?
She's a married woman with a.
Actually, no, I want to beef with. I want to beef with.
Wait.
Hey, yo, I didn't say that. Stick said that.
Stick crazy.
Stick said all that. Stick said.
All you gotta do is hide out of school.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be right back. I gotta take a walk. Hey, yo, that was the ace of yos. Wowzers. You gotta put on your trousers. Anyway, so Valet had the Egyptian, the Egyptian sample, fire song. It's like that dance hall feeling and whatnot. And with the hook going, pull up, every now and again when Charles takes like beats like that, I actually love hearing that type of stuff. Like, I'm not gonna say he doesn't do it enough, but I love hearing what he does with it. I like the song. I like what he was talking about in the song. I know at a certain point he was talking about, Jimmy had him in LA, and then, Jimmy didn't really want him doing what he wanted to do. So he's like, all right, well, I had to go do my own thing. And that's why it's kind of like why he's back as a street rat, you know what I mean? Trying to find his way, But I really like the song. Good song.
Yeah, I agree there. I can't say, again, a sample just, sometimes that sample just can draw you in, and that one is definitely what it does.
Right.
And then we end with World Star Controversy, which, now that I think about it, I'm thinking about the cover again. I want to say this is right around the time, and I hate bringing it up again because we don't like to talk about it, but I feel like this, when I remember this photo, I feel like it had to do with Sirius Jones in that barbershop or something.
It's crazy you said that, because I just seen that video recently pop up on like my YouTube, whatever.
Yeah, I feel like that's, and when I see World Star Controversy and we're talking street rat, I'm thinking those two things kind of connect. But one thing about Charles is Charles will, for better or worse, sometimes people self-depreciate, right? Or they're self-depreciating, and they can easily poke fun at themselves, or they're able to poke fun at themselves, but find a way to spin it. And I feel like this is his way of doing it in his own artistic way. Right. What did you think about World Star Controversy?
So this is definitely a venting song, because like how the hook goes, Charles is, talking about proving himself. And I think this whole tape, he was talking about proving himself. And, we heard in like Mogul how, he was trying to step up and do this and that. Yep. On Street Rat, you hear the aggression on a lot of these songs, and, him trying to spit as best as he can, as hard as he can. But he has a good point in the hook where he says, who the fuck going to buy my shit? Yeah. He keeps talking about that. And in real life, you think about it, from him being signed in 2008 to getting dropped later on, and we're in 2012, where it's like, all right, well, Charles never put out anything at this time that was to be sold, to be actually sold in stores.
Mm.
So I feel like with this song, he's talking about, yeah, of course, he's had a lot of controversy. We all know he's been on World Star for just like, the wrong reasons, whether it was the Serious. Well, here's the thing, because, the Serious Jones battle, the first one was in SOBs before the Kendrick thing happened, which was
Right.
fun. It's like, hey, he lost the battle, but he put his heart into it. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
The second one you're talking about, when he was in the barbershop, where it's just like, it didn't go well for him.
Right.
And other things, it's like, yeah, he is a controversial person, and he's trying to show y'all, hey, I could spit with the best. I could do everything with the vets. But at the same time, for these record labels, when they're looking at my track record, they're going to be like, all right, well, yeah, you've done this, but you got a lot of negatives on your side, man. So how are we going to invest in you? And then he has to ask us, who the fuck's going to buy my shit?
Yeah.
And even you fast forward to now, there's only a handful of us that can actually say, Charles, I actually bought this album. I actually bought this project. I actually bought this shirt from you. I actually donated money to you. I actually, sent some love your way monetarily. Because Charles says near the end of the project, he says, about love and money. And he said, love is money in this aspect, where it's like, yeah, the love that I need to be getting needs to be monetary, because love don't pay the bills. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm really going to be, stepping up and stepping out, gotta get paid, man. Gotta do what you gotta do. But how you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, as far as, and again, it's funny because like my view on the tapes kind of depends on the outro of both. So like, let's say now we're looking at it. Let's say this is Street Rat to a Mogul, and that's how it's supposed to be looked at.
Yeah.
We're ending the tape asking, who the fuck gonna buy my shit, right? Who's gonna buy my shit? Like, this is like the last plea, the last bit, and he's telling us like love isn't money. It's almost as if, and of course he would never do this, but this is just the story that we're telling. This is, let's say he got all this art, he did all this artistic stuff on this album, and up until this point, like, it hasn't worked, and he's like, who's gonna buy my shit? Who's gonna buy my shit? And now this is him being like, well, I'm gonna sell my soul, and I'm gonna make the other music, which is the mogul junk. So like, now I'm getting off the streets at the street rap, because I'm like, all right, I'm about to make the music that I should make, quote unquote, per se, right? And that's how we get to the mogul part. It takes a controversy for him to be like, hey, I'm gonna make this switch, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm still stuck. Like, which sounds better? Is it mogul to street rat, or street rat to mogul? And I think that it's tough to think about. I feel like it's one of those ones where you could do both. Like, I don't think there's a specific way, but I think each way has a different message.
I think that's the way it's supposed to be. You can do both, because Charles has done both twice, where he started off, street rat, got signed, got dropped, went back to street rat. And it's crazy you said that, because how you were explaining the World Star controversy thing, of course, Charles didn't sell his soul, but you fast forward later on, where Charles talks about it in interviews in 2015, where he said, hey, man, like, I was making music, but I wasn't making money, and I need to get the acclaim that I deserve. Like, so, he didn't sell his soul going to 2015, but that's kind of like what he ended up doing in real life. Like, okay, who's going to buy my shit? Yo, I need to actually talk to these labels, because I still have my talent. I can still go somewhere in this business. So let me go ahead and do that. So once again, we seen him. Hey, you know what? I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, but let me go back to being a mogul, because it's what I got to do. And he did it again. And, for better or worse, he ended up leaving Republic, back to the street rat, and we might be foreshadowing, in another 2 years or something like that, if Charles decides, hey, man, if there's someone that's interested, I could go back into the industry again. You never know. But I think that's the way it's supposed to be. And I like that, it's a circle of life. There you go.
Yeah, that's the fact. But we're here. We've made it to the end. 2023. How are we looking at this tape? I guess the first thing we should ask is, wow, before, what did you have as the better tape? And then after, what do you have as the better tape? But let's also still give, oh man, do we give a rating just for the combined effort, separate? You just go do whatever you think is best, and we'll go from there.
All right. So 2012, when this first came out, I remember seeing the project come out and everything. So I remember all of this, just like it was yesterday. I I was feeling both tapes. I like both tapes. It was one of those things where certain songs, you know, I was vibing with, certain songs I wasn't back then,
Mhm.
but I loved both. I will say, I think back then in 2012, I probably like street rap more. I
Okay.
probably like street rap more. Now in 2023, and I still, like I said, back then I still thought you had to listen to both. You still had to listen to both. Now
Got
I
it.
still think same thing. Still gotta listen to both. You know, get the duality of man. You know, so
Mhm.
it's now, like I said, there's the songs I really like. I still like them. They still stand the test of time. It's been 11 years since, still stand the test of time.
Mhm.
There's certain songs that I'm like, you know what, I might not have been feeling it at first, but I like more. And then the songs I was really iffy on, I'm still just just
Right.
like that. So they have improved a bit for me. Now if I was to say which one I like better now,
Mhm.
I would probably say overall, I would say project wise, I like Mogul better. I think I like Mogul better, but overall, nothing is beating High Baby. So you know what I mean, that's still favorite
Okay.
song, period, no matter what. But I think maybe that's why I liked Street Rap more, because of High Baby was on there. I like Big
Mhm.
Booty Nicki too and some other songs, but um I'd say Mogul I like better. 2023, love both projects still.
Mhm.
I'll say this. Um, you know what? I got you. All right. So rating wise,
Okay.
separately, I'm going to give Mogul a Bass Sonic. I'll give as a street rat Bass Sonic,
Okay.
but together with the super duper lock on technology,
Right.
it's getting supersonic. You
Okay.
gotta listen to both. I think if you put them together as one big, album, one big
Yeah.
project, you can't miss. Because even if you decided to take off the songs, like, hey, I don't like these two songs on Mogul, these maybe three songs on Street Rap, you still got, so it's like 19 songs technically before that. So you take off
Yes.
like three or four, yeah, 19 songs. You take off like three or four of them, you still got like 15, you still got like 14, 15 songs. So
Yeah.
just as a project, yeah. So separately, they're both bass sonic, but together, supersonic.
Okay.
Must listen. Must listen.
Okay. So in 2012, I would say I will absolutely tell you that I would have said Street Rat is listen to Street Rat. I didn't really care for Mogul. I
Okay.
was listening and I was like, it didn't I don't know what I was listening for at the time, right? I felt like I will say that I think Street Rat sounded more like something that I would have listened to in the early stages of Charles
Yeah.
versus what Mogul was. And it didn't hit me the way it hit me today, right? So I would say Street Rat I absolute 2012. It's been one of my favorites ever since. But today I have a bigger appreciation for Mogul. I think Mogul is actually a good one, especially if we're talking like you got 7 songs. I'm looking at one, two, three, four. I'll say like 5 that I like, that I think are cool. Like 3 that I would actually playlist.
Yeah.
So that's a great like percentage wise. That's a great piece of the pie. Um I still think Street Rat is better. I think Street Rat just has a bunch of really, really, really good records. Especially if someone who's like an 08, 09 OG and you're like, oh, I stopped listening after you got drops. Like, listen, I would be like, go listen to Street Rat. 'Cause I think Street Rat is that would be something that you could get dragged back in. Like, oh, okay, this is, I don't even know what the energy just felt up like it was back in the day. I feel like that's kind of what I'm kind of trying to explain. Um, so as rating wise, oh man, I'm trying to think. Street Rat is definitely a supersonic. I'm not gonna hold you. Street Rat to me is absolutely a supersonic. I really 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 love Street Rat.
Hey man, High Baby does that to songs, man. I'm telling you.
um, Mogul, yeah. It can get a bass sonic, like a Sonic the Hedgehog 1 base Sonic for sure.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like not Sonic 2 base Sonic, but like Sonic 1 base Sonic without the spin dash. It's good.
So
It's good.
original Sonic, not Sonic 1 that's on some of these mobile, phones and on like Sonic Origins where it's like, hey, this is Sonic 1, but with the spin dash and we added it.
Yeah,
No.
no.
Sega Genesis, 1991.
Yeah,
Sonic 1.
yeah. Those kids that be like, "Oh, I beat Sonic 1." Like, did you spin dash? Because that wasn't there when I was young. Like that wasn't a thing. But yeah, with together, it's definitely a supersonic.
Okay.
It's definitely a supersonic because now that you painted that picture of like a story being told, and it can be kind of told back and forth either way. That's a great concept. Now, the more I think about it, and now that I like a lot more of the songs, it paints a different picture for me. And I yeah, definitely a supersonic for sure, for sure.
I mean, I'm glad to say that. I'm glad that we actually listen to it together as one instead of, like I said, doing it separately. Because like I said, it's going to have different effects. Like you said, you really like Street Rat, and then before you like Mogul was okay, but you have a better appreciation of it now that you know. Because I'll tell you this real quick. I remember I beat Sonic 3 by itself, and I remember, oh yeah, I beat Sonic 3, but I never beat Sonic and Knuckles, and I never put them together. So for me, I'm like, oh, well, now I don't feel as good about beating it because I only beat the first half. Like I beat the halfway of the game. I didn't beat the whole thing. So it's like you gotta do the whole thing, man, or it doesn't really count as much. It's a hollow win,
That's funny. I did the opposite. I never beat Sonic 3. But the only reason I didn't beat Sonic 3 is because I never owned Sonic 3. I would have to, here I go, old me, Blockbuster, right? I would have to get it from Blockbuster. And so I never beat it in the time period I needed to. But I actually owned Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and I beat that. So we're like, we do the fusion dance and we beat the game. So
yeah, there you go. That's literally what it was for me. I had Sonic 3, didn't have Sonic and Knuckles. My boy had it, but it's like, oh, you only borrow it for a little bit and I need it back. So
yeah. But yeah, let us know what's your favorite. Which one was your favorite? As a mogul, as a street rat? How do you feel about both? How you feel about the story that we kind of painted with this one? What were your favorite songs? Is Hi Baby really the best song on Street Rat? It's not. But anyway, it's a really good record though.
Thank you.
But be sure to follow us on X. Oh, I'm not supposed to say X. Sorry. Be sure to follow us on Twitter because we're not allowed to say X. And and TikTok at Star Chaser. Well, Star CH Central on X, and then Star Chaser Central on TikTok. Also follow us on YouTube. Subscribe, Star Chaser Central. You can also follow us on our individual pages. On Instagram at StickAround54, STIK around 54. Mike, where can they find you, buddy?
You can find me on Twitter at y'all know. They're singing it right now. They're singing it now.
Right.
Because we don't say X around here.
Sorry.
But now you're good. So on Twitter, Mike D Jackson. That's Mike DEE Jackson. 1 D, 2 E's. I'm gonna start just doing that for real. And then on Instagram, the Mike Jackson, THE Mike Jackson. Boom. There it is. You feel me?
Yes, be sure to share with your friends, share with other Star Chasers. Be sure to also, engage in the conversation, man. We like to see the comments on the YouTube page, on the YouTube videos, and when y'all comment on our posts. Mike puts out some really good posts, some fun posts, man. So go ahead and check those out, retweet those, and
also real quick, not to interrupt, I apologize.
No,
let me ask y'all a question real quick. So, I'm not sure if everyone's still watching on the YouTube or if you're more of the audio listener. Are you listening on Spotify and Apple, or are you watching on YouTube? Let us know, because we want to make sure, it's interesting to see how people are checking out the product. So if you're more of an audio listener, because you're like, hey, I got stuff to do, so I got my phone in my pocket, got it playing in the car, or if you're actually watching the videos, either or, as long as you're checking it out, let us know. We're cool with that. But I just wanted to put that in there. So
facts. We kind of started the pod late this year, but next year we definitely anticipate being in your top pods of the year. So be sure you do those spins, because algorithms and all that bullshit, billionaire bullshit. But this has been Star Chicks Central. We are logging off, where we always encourage you to follow your dreams
and reach for the stars.